Welcome to It's What Our Characters Would Do, the podcast where a neutral good ranger and a chaotic neutral warlock talk about RPGs, roll funny dice, and give away some sweet loot. I'm Bob World Builder.
And I'm Grace World Destroyer.
And today, we're talking about D&D Direct 2023. And we're giving away a mystery dice set from Only Crits. But first, Grace, how are you feeling today?
Two of my coworkers have started following the Bob World Builder channel.
Oh boy.
My new coworkers.
Probably not this channel, though.
No, I doubt it. They said, this Bob guy's legit. According to another coworker who came in to tell me about it.
Okay, I'll take it. My dad also texted me today and said that, Bob, I got you 2 new subscribers when I was at Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Yeah, because he just talks to everybody.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes. He's the #1 word of mouth.
He's your community engagement manager.
Yep, for free.
Well, the price you pay is sometimes the embarrassment if you happen to be
Right.
standing there.
Yeah, that was really only one time. As much as I love my dad and love that he does this, man, I do not like being there when he's going to tell somebody about my channel, which only happened one time in public. But and also I realized, thinking back to your coworkers, I don't remember where we left off with your job, but I feel like it was probably when you were not certain what was happening with it. And now you're at least
now I'm certain,
like 99%
and I know
sure
that my
solid.
managers know that I exist.
Yeah.
I'm pretty solid, and I start there on Monday. Today is Thursday.
Mm-hmm. We're recording this one pretty down to the wire, it seems. But that also means we're recording it at this interesting time where tomorrow we're going to see the D&D movie.
Yay!
And 2 days after that, I'm going to D&D.
Heck yeah!
I'm going to be
He's gonna
there.
be at D&D.
Yep.
How
So
long is that
exciting.
trip again?
It's several days.
Wow.
Leaving Sunday and getting back on Wednesday. But like Sunday morning, early morning, coming back late Wednesday night.
Wow, several whole days.
Yeah. Only one of those days is actually with Wizards of the Coast. It's basically like travel for a whole day, do the thing one day. Then they gave us the option to have an extra day just to like check out the city on our own. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then traveling the final day. But
Neat.
that's exciting stuff. Gonna get to see, hopefully some cool new things happening. And speaking of cool new things happening, that's why we're talking about D&D Direct, because they just announced many, many things crammed into one video.
Really crammed into the last 5 minutes
Really
or so.
crammed it in. Oh yeah, that was the stuff actually about the game. So let's jump into our first segment, the quick build, where we try to summarize our topic/goal for this episode in 3d6 words or less. Grace is going to roll. I'm going to go for it.
I couldn't remember who actually did it last time, but
Yeah, whatever.
whatever. It's
12?
our podcast. We make our own rules. It's 11.
11. I'm really waiting for the day that we just get like 3. That's never happened. Or like just anything less than 10. I feel like it's always been so manageable. So 11 words. We're going to tell ya about D&D news. And it's funny.
I hope it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny already. I mean, it's funny. Just the actual D&D Direct was funny. So I feel like we had to really screw it up for this to not come across as a little bit funny.
Yeah, my first impression of the hosts was that they had never interacted or spoken to each other before showing up and getting in front of that green screen and starting to talk.
Well, and do you want to hear your actual first impression of the host? Because I wrote it
Who
down.
the are these people?
Yeah.
But then later I recognized the one of them from Dimension 20.
Yeah,
But
same.
I still don't know who the girl was.
No, and I mean, I didn't even bother to like look them up really. But that was just a goofy thing right off the bat. Why couldn't they at least put people who are notable on the D&D scene in front of that? They have Todd Kenrick, who does all the like official interviews when they're talking about Unearthed Arcana and stuff. Like, why isn't he doing it?
Yeah, they even got R.A. Bob Salvatore.
Yeah, they got raw Bob Salvatore on there. They had Joe Manganiello later on. I guess a little spoiler
he's
alert.
He's probably too busy to host.
I was thinking he's probably too expensive, actually.
Yeah,
because he's like an actual,
that could be it.
Actual actor. I don't really know who the other people were, but
players from some thing.
You know, at the very end, they did have Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford on there, and I thought they did a great job. And of course, it's like outside of their wheelhouse. They're game designers. They're not like presenters, whatever. So that's fine. But they did great. They could have done the whole thing, and I would have enjoyed it. This is a very
like minor gripe.
It is a pretty minor gripe.
We're not here to just like slam the Direct.
No. I mean, I guess some parts of the Direct. So we'll see. The next part was the Minecraft. I mean, that was really the first showcase, right?
Okay.
Minecraft.
Yeah, I kind of want to slam that too, though.
What do you want to say about it?
I've noticed that Minecraft has been doing a couple like brand deals. And it just feels like another one of those, really.
It is, I guess. Yeah.
And it would be cool if they made the Forgotten Realms just like a server that you could go to.
Whoa.
I'd totally go in there and just like explore it. But you're going to have to buy like
I don't know how the Minecraft expansions work in the first place. But that is what it seemed like. It looked to me like everything was way more detailed than a regular Minecraft game. Just the characters and their outfits and everything.
Like,
so you're going to have to buy
additional texture packs.
Yeah, it literally is like the character skins and the microtransaction stuff.
Yep.
Which now, granted, that's not happening necessarily in the VTT or whatever, like everyone's worried about. This is just in Minecraft, which my main criticism there was this was the front and center thing that they showed us, and it does not really overlap with the demographic of people who are watching D&D Direct. Right. Which was like streamed on YouTube like and probably Twitch.
The children of people who are watching D&D Direct might be
so why was that the first thing? Like it just started it off on such a rough note. I think.
That should have been the thing in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Then they showed a bit of the movie trailer, and I was like, Grace, we got to skip this part because I don't want any more spoilers when I'm seeing the movie in 2 days or whatever. So yeah, and then it got into the Joe Cat music video. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was cute.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Pretty much just what came to my head was like, it was cool to see Joe Cat because first of all, okay, now we actually have somebody from the D&D YouTube space connecting with the D&D YouTube audience for this presentation. And it was just a nice jaunty tune was what I called it.
Yeah, and the characters were all cute. And I like the cat ear guy.
Yeah, I think that was him.
Well, Joe Cat I only know as wearing like the big dragon
Yeah, I guess that's more of a character that they do.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if it actually has a name. But again, even that probably would have been an interesting thing to start with because it was just this kind of very generic
that
intro
would have
to
been
D&D.
A good intro.
Literally.
Yeah.
Was what it was about, like how to get people involved was kind of the premise of the song. Yeah, and then anyway, it cut away from that and the presenters mentioned something super briefly about working with friendly local game stores to get new people who just watched the movie like playing D&D right away, but it was just kind of a blur to me what they said. Not very many
details about what exactly it was supposed to be. Like, is it Adventurers League? Because I don't think Adventurers League is
It's gotta be something different.
I don't think Adventurers League is a good introduction for new players. No, honestly,
that's where probably 80% of RPG horror stories come from.
Yeah, and there's it's just too restrictive.
Yeah,
you know? And
that too. But anyway, that was like a really quick point, and it kind of stunk that they like blew right over it because I think, the working with friendly local game stores thing is a really positive thing that D&D could be doing and trying to highlight more just as a, hey, we're the good guys, still. Yeah. I think I would have wanted to see that.
Like actually working with small businesses instead of working against them.
Yeah. So I would have liked to hear more about it. And again, maybe there were more details. I should probably rewatch it. It just felt like they went over that real fast. And then right into some toys.
I liked the toys.
You toy person?
I thought they looked fun. And I said to you, I'm glad they didn't just go like the Funko Pop route.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100% that.
They actually looked interesting and like something that a child would play with, but I don't think they're really being marketed to children so much as adults.
It sounded like...
much like the Minecraft thing.
Right, because it kind of sounded like they had action figures of the movie characters, which I assume are straight up toys, but then they had these other figures that were more like models that are probably
the Beholder one was definitely more of a model, but I think the Owlbear one did just look like a toy, because that one was more articulated.
You're right. Yeah, that's the word for it. I mean, part of me felt like, okay, this also is good because this is probably something Hasbro's really good at, right? Like making toys. So that makes sense to me.
I like collectibles that are going to be unique. That's why I don't like Funko Pop, because all Funko Pop just look the same to me. But like,
I guess that's part
even
of it.
If you're just valuing these toys as figurines, they still look like toys, and you can easily differentiate them from each other.
And really, the best thing about the toys to me is the same best thing about Minecraft, which is it's going to introduce a lot of kids to the game. Yeah. So like you can look at that either way, like, oh, they're just trying to like get a bunch of kids hooked on it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I want kids to play D&D. I wish I started playing when I was 10 or 12.
I don't necessarily want them hooked in Minecraft, because that's the whole like microtransaction
Well, they're already hooked
thing.
on Minecraft.
Yeah. But like,
we've got to feed D&D into that.
I think through toys, like giving adults a toy to buy their child to get them excited about playing this game.
Yeah.
Like, here's this cool monster that if we just like sit at the dining room table for an hour and we can play this game and yeah,
you know, this actually reminded me something that didn't come up in the presentation at all. Ted from Nerd Immersion put up a picture of, it was a book called Behold, and I think there was a subtitle, but basically it was like a Where's Waldo book of D&D creatures and monsters and stuff. And that looked really neat to me. And I was like, I want to buy that for my friend's kid. That just seems like such a fun, I don't know. I really loved Where's Waldo as a kid, so.
I thought Where's Waldo was creepy.
Really?
Yeah, I also
thought... Like Waldo himself? Or?
I also thought I Spy was creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I owned a lot of those I Spy books.
Yeah, we owned them. They scared me.
Go on.
I don't know. It's just like the atmosphere was so like dark and like mysterious to me of the pictures.
I guess there's an element of that, like you're investigating in a sense.
Yeah, but I mean, even the ones that are just like, I remember there was one on a bright white background that was really colorful, but it was just like too stark and it unsettled me. They feel eldritch to me. That's why I don't like I Spy.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I do feel like I Spy book covers and pages remind me of some like AI images you see nowadays. That's like, look at this picture and just try to identify one object. And nothing is actually like a real thing. And when you look up close to it, it's really bizarre. It's a really bizarre effect.
Yeah,
maybe that's some kind of uncanny valley thing going on
hard
there.
For me, probably because of the visual processing disorder.
Yeah, that could be. Could very well be.
So I was also very bad at it.
But let's jump to the next topic, the Magic the Gathering cards. What do you think about that?
My thought was, I wonder if the people who play Magic the Gathering have the same attitude toward this crossover as I did toward the Magic the Gathering books being published for D&D, which was, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point there's already been a bunch of D&D Magic the Gathering things. Like I know they did a Forgotten Realms a while
I know
back.
that's not their, it wasn't their first thing. And I know there was like something else, some other kind of drama that happened in the Magic the Gathering community with Wizards of the Coast, where they made some cards like really expensive, but like outlawed them from competitions.
Yeah. If anything, to me, it just felt like a topic that, yes, this Magic the Gathering thing happened to be about the D&D movie, but this wasn't Wizards Presents, where Wizards of the Coast, yes, owns Magic the Gathering and can talk about that a lot. This was D&D Direct.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it was like, we're still barely talking about Dungeons and Dragons. It's like talking about the game. And even following that up was the interview with R.A. Bob Salvatore, father of Drist O'Urden.
The father. Drist's daddy.
Yep. Just right there, talking about his books.
He said some pretty inspiring things, though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Like, that sequence was probably my second or third favorite thing, even though it had very little, or honestly nothing to do with the game of D&D. That was probably my favorite and most tangential part of D&D Direct. Okay, but then they talked about the actual VTT. What did you think about that?
I think it looks really cool.
Unreal Engine.
But there was the part that it was like they wanted people to be able to like sit on their computers and their game consoles and play together. But we were like, at that point, just play a video game. Yeah.
They went out of their way during, I think it was Wizards Presents, to say, you know, it's not going to be a video game.
But it kind of is.
It's like you're using a game engine, putting it on game consoles, and then still trying to say it's not a video game?
Yeah, they're just making
What's the difference?
It's just like an RTS, real-time strategy. Which is I think it's going to be really good for people who only play online, really.
Yes.
But for someone who wants to have a home group, I don't want people to just sit at my dining room table on their laptops. That's not why I'm having a home group.
No. And so that's why, the way they showed it was kind of weird with all the people just sitting around the same table.
Yeah, but there was still like a battle map on the table. That's what was so weird to me.
Right, that's probably what was so weird about they actually like built this cool set and then just plopped a bunch of screens on it anyway.
I did say that I would totally like make maps in it just to show my players, this is what it looks like. This is the atmosphere. But then only I would have the screen and then we would be on a battle map like a grid.
I guess like that's probably the number one way that I could see us using it for in-person games.
Like a background, like if we played near our television.
Exactly.
We would put that on the TV screen. This is what I was about to say,
was how when we first moved to Maryland, we were playing in a game that was a mix of you, me, and one of our friends in person, and a couple friends online. And for us in person, we would play right by the TV, and we had Roll20 up with the grid on there and everything. So I could see that being a pretty cool setup. If you played near a TV or just a wall that you could project the map onto, that would provide a really neat visual for an in-person group. But overall, of course, this is for not in-person groups. And I do think what they're doing with it is going to be amazing for people who just play online.
But we do, of course, have to wonder how much of it is going to be microtransactions. Is it going to be a subscription service?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, if you play for free, do you just get like 3 standard battle maps? How customized? Yeah. Like, they didn't really answer any of the main questions.
Right, and that was what bothered me about it, is that the people who are watching D&D Direct, like who tuned in to this live premiere, we already know everything they showed us about the VTT. Yeah. They didn't tell us anything new about it, besides show like some footage, but mostly just the faces of people watching the screen when we couldn't even see it. Yeah. And it was like,
and it was kind of
what
awkward.
Are the features? It
was kind of awkward to watch because I felt like they were like really overacting what they showed.
I mean, it's probably a mix of that. And it's like, obviously they probably played for several hours and then, cut it down to just a couple of these. So everything was out of context. It just didn't translate well. I think it would have been really cool if they had run like maybe a half an hour long one shot, like one-on-one or something.
Or just showed a demo of how to make a map.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
was
saying.
interested
Any
in.
actual features of the VTT would have been cool to see. So I'm sure more of that's going to come out soon. One interesting tidbit they dropped was like, hey, we're going to start releasing this in beta soon. Limited releases or whatever.
Yeah, because you might be part of the beta, maybe.
I don't know. But I was like, that would be kind of neat to get a little taste. Again, personally, I don't have a lot of interest in actually using it.
Taste.
But you can't make all those slurping sounds right into the microphone. This is a podcast. Ugh. Sorry, everyone. To end that little snippet on a positive note, VTT, I do think, is going to be great for D&D and great for tabletop games as a whole, because it's going to make it way easier for people to get into the game, just start playing, whether they're playing with people at home or like with friends from school or whatever, but everybody's just at their individual homes playing online. Yeah. Friends from across the world playing online. It's going to make it way easier to get into the game. And that's what's important to me.
Yeah, it would even be cool if you could do it like alternating, like, oh, we can't all make it to this guy's house this week. We'll just play online on this VGT.
Yeah.
But then you could still do in person if you want.
Yeah. It's more versatility. It's more options, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's good.
After that, they had a phony news segment about some WizKids figures escaping from the lab.
Yeah, I don't really understand what that was supposed to be.
Then we had the man, Joe Manganiello, talking about the D&D 50th anniversary documentary that he's making, which I feel like that also would have been a cool thing to show first. I think everybody would have been more impressed by Joe Manganiello first, even if he's not the main presenter. Just throw him up there talking about the 50th, talking about this cool doc that like is going to build more awareness about the game, cover the history of the game at the same time. I think that part had the widest appeal to D&D fans.
I don't really have any interest in that kind of thing.
No way. You don't care about this documentary?
It's not that I don't care. It's cool that it's being made, but I just have never been much into history in general.
Okay.
So.
I don't know. Well, it's, it's the history of this game that we like. Yeah. I think it's cool. You like lore, but not real life lore.
No.
Well, maybe I'm totally wrong then. Because I literally was saying, and I stand by, I think it would have the widest appeal, but maybe I'm very deluded about that. I don't know. That's a question for the comments. Do you care about Joe, however you say his last name?
Manganiello.
I don't know if it's actually Manganiello. That's just how I usually say it. Or
Manganiello.
Yeah. Or do you not care? And what is your favorite thing then? Because then the actual last thing that they talked about, literally saying, oh, wait, don't go yet. As if like they're expecting people to leave.
Stuff to
now
say.
We'll talk about the actual game in D&D Direct. And we had Crawford and Perkins talking about the D&D multiverse and how they're actually going to do something with all these obelisks that they've dropped into Forgotten Realms Adventures. Talking about some of the other books that are coming out. I know you're pumped for the Giants one,
The
right?
Giants one and the Planescape one.
Really?
Because I like plane
those are the
lore.
two that I probably have the least interest in.
I like the lore of the planes. I like being able to switch up environments just like by having people in the city of Sigil. Like you have to go to the plane of fire to do this one thing, and then you have to go to, some other place now.
Feywild, Shadowwell. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, it's cool, but I think it's going to be not as bad as Spelljammer, but probably kind of like Dragonlance.
I think
where it mostly appeals.
It's going to be like, well, I don't know. Is it a setting or is it an adventure?
It's technically a setting.
The Vecna adventure.
Right. To build up to that.
Yeah.
And along those lines, the one that I am more interested in was the Phandelver campaign one. And that is also going to lead into, presumably, Vecna, because apparently he has something to do with having placed these obelisks in various places across the Sword Coast.
Depending on what levels that adventure is supposed to be, it might be cool to go directly from Lost Mine to this other thing.
I don't think they were clear if the Phandelver campaign is going to connect right from Lost Mine or it's just, location based, so it's same area.
It's cool that they are kind of ending it in the same place that they started it.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I just like how they're tying things together. And then they did mention kind of a 5-year plan. They didn't really go into what's going on in those 5 years, but just said, hey, you're going to see some Red Wizards of Thay stuff. You're going to see Avenger from the 80s cartoon and the League of Malevolence from the Feywild adventure.
Yeah, when I read Wild Beyond the Witchlight,
right, that's it.
I thought that they were cool. Just like this party of villains, and then there was like a party of heroes that opposed them.
I didn't understand.
And they were like frozen in time in like the castle at the end of the adventure where the boss is.
Well, that is interesting because I am really under the impression that the obelisk thing is going to involve some timey-wimey shenanigans.
Yeah, that's the general theory.
Anyway, we are ready for a short break.
Woo. I want a little snack.
It's what our characters would do.
Okay, I have finished my wine crime spritzer and my hot and spicy Cheez-Its, and I'm ready to start.
That means it's time for a random encounter, where we roll to read your stories and questions or in this case, just thoughts generally about this topic. And the person who wrote our favorite story or thought takes home some loot.
6.
From Duncan Walla. Being positive over here. Not every product is for every consumer. I will never use a VTT. I struggle to get engaged online and have no desire to have Discord D&D with 3 to 7 other people clambering over each other. However, those who would participate with the media in that manner can decide whether they are happy or unhappy with the product. My fun isn't reduced because a product isn't meant for me. On the tie-ins with other media, hey, they did a Rick and Morty D&D crossover and that was cringe as heck. I don't care for it, but as with before, it doesn't ruin my fun. The only thing Wizards can do to ruin D&D would be something jaw-droppingly stupid like, I don't know, making creators pay WotC for their homebrew content and lying about it.
Very wise observation from Mr.
Duncan Walla.
Mr. Duncan Walla.
Yeah, I really like that one, actually. I think that's just kind of the way we have to look at it. I know we made fun of some things there, but I was trying to come back to, you know, maybe the figures aren't for me. Maybe the VTT isn't really for me. Maybe Joe Manganiello's awesome documentary isn't for you, Grace.
Yeah.
But
I think
some people are going to love these things.
We were pretty fair and balanced.
Yeah, probably between us, I think we were good.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, I totally agree that all of these things, to some degree, mean progress for D&D, and that means progress for the tabletop industry. Well, yeah. I mean, that's literally what that means.
But like, that's just what businesses do.
Yeah.
They make money and they look for ways to make money. And sometimes they're scummy about it, and other times they just create new products, and that's fine.
Yeah, new products, totally fine. And like you said, hopefully it doesn't do anything else too stupid. But I think they're tuned in now, better tuned in than they were at least to what people are going to find stupid and not. So hopefully we're good. Roll again.
4.
From Murdoch Lambert. I felt the VTT section was pretty cringe-inducing.
Cringe!
More cringe. Honestly, most of it was to me. I've been playing D&D for over 30 years. I did, however, completely miss 4th edition, and I've really enjoyed the different iterations of the game, and I've loved watching it evolve into something that has become mainstream. Remember the satanic panic of the 80s? The unfortunate thing about newfound popularity, the world's greatest RPG, is, because Hasbro has bought it, they're just going to find ways to milk it for every penny they can get, thus the entire presentation. They're connecting all different brands together and capitalizing on nostalgia in order to pimp D&D for all it's worth. All that being said, I'll probably continue to play the game. I love it. I also play more third-party and homebrew, as I have always done. I never really played real D&D until 5th edition. I'm also leaning toward playing other systems, Pathfinder most notably. They seem a lot more friendly to other content creators. Sorry for the rambling answer, but to sum it all up, I'll say this. D&D under Hasbro will morph into something that has a lot of microtransactions for online players that use their official VTT. The only part that didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth was the documentary announcement from Joe Manganiello. I'm sorry for butchering his last name. He knew I would say it weird. Yeah, so mixed bag there. I think I still have to default to what Duncan said, is that like all these other brand tie-ins, you know, because it's mainstream now and Hasbro's gonna do that. Yes, they're milking it for every dime it's worth, but like that's what they're supposed to do.
But
that's how more people are gonna become aware.
You don't have to use it.
Right.
As long as the basic stuff is free and you have your imagination, you never have to engage with the microtransactions if you don't want to.
And that's pretty much what they admitted here too. It's like, you know, they play more third party and homebrew, and that's probably what they're going to continue to do anyway. So. And
that's what makes D&D better than just like Fortnite or Overwatch or something.
Yeah, you can play it any way you want. I guess some people are worried that if the popular perception of it becomes this like pay to play kind of game, it'll make people less interested.
That could be harmful. Yeah, that's true.
But
I think
the same time,
the public perception will kind of always be the actual play YouTube channels, like Critical Role.
I don't know. That's really interesting. Right now, let's be honest. The public perception of D&D is like the 5 seconds of it that they showed on Stranger Things 7 years ago.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's until some other really mainstream, like actual mainstream media displays it in some way. Yeah, but even that's not like the gameplay, right? So we're going to need to see it in some kind of show or movie where they're actually showing gameplay, and then that's going to be how people envision it for the next 5 years. I don't know. Roll again.
1. No, 7.
Will T. Harina. It looks like Hasbro is doing with Dungeons & Dragons what Disney has done with Marvel/Star Wars. I leave it to the individual figure to find out whether that's a good or not so good thing. It can also be a mix of the two, as life would have it. The main thing is to just enjoy yourself and let others do the same.
True. Like we said, that's just what corporations like this do.
Yeah. And I do think the connection to Marvel/Star Wars is actually pretty great analogies. Like Hasbro wishes they could turn D&D into the Marvel
like
cinematic
if they could have a D&D cinematic universe, they totally would do it. And I might actually engage with that. I never really cared that much about...
I would like to see more movies. I haven't even seen the first one yet.
I never really cared that much about Marvel, and then when it became like a chore to keep up, I was like, I'm out. But with D&D, I love D&D, so I would watch all the movies.
Now, there's gonna be like 3 movies a year like Marvel. Will I actually go to all of them? I don't know. But if we're talking about like Star Wars, and there's going to be some cool miniseries or something on different streaming services, I would watch some of that. Probably.
I hope it's Netflix, so we don't have to get a different streaming service.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know how far out of my way I would go to sign up for multiple. Anyway, I don't know. These next couple of years are going to be really interesting to see what they do with it, because if this movie is really successful, of course they're going to make more, and that'll be neat. And then they'll make shows, and then they'll do whatever else, and it'll just keep, what's the word? Snowballing. I hope that happens.
1 for real.
From Graham Klimaszewski. When I saw the Minecraft tie-in, I laughed out loud at first. It seemed incredibly random, or like a grasp at whatever else is relevant, though Minecraft's most recent heyday is past. But then I thought about world building. Obviously, you build in Minecraft. As a DM, I like to curate an experience for my players, so I hope that's possible to do in some very literal world building for a group of friends, and join them on an adventure I made / an experience I curated. I don't want them to try and implement D&D mechanics into Minecraft. I hope the dynamic of a friend making something for their friends to enjoy will be the strength. My question is, why do you guys think they chose Minecraft, and what do you hope to see in a crossover between D&D and an established game? Why did they choose Minecraft, Grace?
Because they knew they could make money off of it.
So they can hook the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Minecraft, it's like probably... It's got to be better known than D&D, because every kid has not only heard of it, but has also played it, like some of it. Every kid.
And has one of those weird foam pixel swords.
Maybe.
To swing around.
Yeah, I don't know how much physical... Actually, no, you're totally right. It's practically like general issue to live in the United States as a 12-year-old boy that you have like one Minecraft t-shirt. Like, I swear to God, So that's why. That's why they chose Minecraft, because it is literally the most popular. I mean, this person says Minecraft's most recent heydays in the past. I don't know, man. Maybe we're looking at it right now. D&D takes Minecraft to new heights. I doubt it. It'd be the other way around. But we'll see. That's why this is an exciting development, one way or the other. Oh, but his other question. What would you hope to see in a crossover between D&D and an established game? Like, is there some other game that you think could benefit collaboratively with D&D? You're the gamer here.
Yeah, I can't really think of one. Because all the games that I play are kind of their own thing. Right. That don't really get skins applied to them. Except for maybe Kirby. Because some games...
some kind of Nintendo thing?
Yeah, some games, if you slap a Kirby skin on it, it just becomes a success.
Drista Worden becomes a character in the next Super Smash Bros. Game?
Maybe. Yeah.
It's kind of the next thing I could even realistically see. I don't know what other games, to be honest. I don't know. I'm really not very tuned into video games.
I mean, they have their own games already.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what Super Smash Brothers is literally just a mashup of all these different. Yeah. I don't know. That was just a kind of random thing that came to my mind. Probably be like World of Warcraft, if I'm honest. And
Pokemon.
Like no one, maybe. I guess Magic the Gathering is the right answer. All right, roll again.
5.
Mick Chaos. Have watched their video game thing a couple times through now. Minecraft, couldn't care less for the tie-in. Compendium on D&D Beyond is pretty pointless. Oh yeah, I forgot they released like a free couple monsters on D&D Beyond, but they're like from the Minecraft version.
Oh thing. Yeah.
We should have looked at that. Dang. Yeah. Anyway, the VTT Looks very much like Baldur's Gate 3 footage, but you need a highish spec gaming PC to run it smoothly.
Yeah, you probably need a graphics card.
I don't know. I could have sworn they said it might. Maybe I'm wrong.
It
they said
looked
would run
too
on phones.
good to not need a graphic. And I bet there's a bunch of phones that have graphics cards now.
Okay, that's true. Maybe smartphones are just better than the average. Because, smartphone, such a smaller screen. I don't know how that would affect it. I don't know anything about gaming. Upcoming titles, we all knew some of this already. Yep. But was nice to get more info on the Fandelver campaign. Bingo. I was disappointed about Book of Many Things, as was hoping this would be a compilation of new magic items rather than a history of the Deck of Many Things. But the look ahead was okay. Nice to see the Red Wizards will be stirring up trouble again. And of course, the ultimate bad guy, the Big V, Venger. It says here. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the next TV media that I could see happening, honestly, is some kind of remake of the old show.
They did show that some of the toys that Hasbro is making were from the old show. Yeah, there were figurines from it.
Because that just has the most awareness now. And, every media company needs to ensure that there's some kind of audience before they make a new thing. Because there's no new things anymore. So they can only, remaking this show would be the safest bet. Therefore, it's the most likely bet, I think. Because apparently there was some other show announced during all the OGL stuff, remember?
Yeah.
But I literally didn't really hear
but now
about
because of all the OGL stuff, no one gave
Yeah, I really don't know. I'd have to look it up.
2.
From KD&D, what's your take on the VTT? How likely will you be to use it? We already kind of talked about that part. But they said, have you used Tailspire or a similar VTT before? When using Tailspire, it would take me hours to custom make a map for a simple encounter, so I'm skeptical of D&D VTTs being any simpler to use. The one thing I'd want to avoid at my table would be everyone's faces shoved into their laptops like it was in the direct video. I'd rather see a digital screen on the table that everyone can manipulate from a tablet or via touchscreen. That would be cool. I guess if it did work on everybody's phone, if you had some kind of big screen up like we were talking about, again, this is for an in-person game then, I guess everybody can manipulate and move their tokens and everybody's seeing that at the same time. So that's kind of what they described here. Touchscreen would be the neatest, but then it's you literally may as well be touching an actual miniature and moving that.
Yeah.
I guess it would just look a lot cooler being.
I think that I would spend way too much time making simple maps. There's no way I'd be able to create an entire dungeon in that.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it could even handle something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I default to simplicity because I will waste a ton of time on stuff. That's why I've come to really like Dungeon Scrawl, for example, because I can't do that much. But when you have this kind of capability where you can really, again, I'm assuming you can really manipulate it any way you want with this actual, somewhat realistic landscape, I would just get so lost in the details, I think. And also, to me, there's this element, not to go into a whole theater of mind versus, props and whatever kind of discussion, but I like it when it's just hey, here's the grid, because then everybody can actually use their imagination. Whereas looking at the thing, you're more oh, that's where we are. If someone has this very realistic map in front of me, it'll be oh, that's the scene. And I won't feel as a player or DM as inclined to improvise and come up with fun stuff in the moment if it's not already pictured there. But that's me. I know a lot of other people don't think that way, so I'm gonna roll again. 3. From D.D. O'Brien. Does anyone really sit around a table with other players in the same room? Okay. With their laptop walls up when they do this. It looked like an internet cafe in those shots. In my opinion, if you didn't have a table to gather around, it seems okay, but I think the VTT is mostly a solo thing and to play remotely with others. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
We've talked about that at length now, so. And for sharing our favorite, not story or question, but thought on this topic, this episode's loot winner is Duncan Walla for keeping it positive. You're going home with a mystery set of dice from Only Crits. Woo!
Congrats.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and... Multi-Attack. that like button.
Whoa.
To be eligible for loot and support this show, consider subscribing or joining Patreon through the links below. Patrons also get a private RSS link to listen through your favorite podcast platform.
But wait, if they multi-attack it, won't they be hitting subscribe? And then if they hit it again, it'll be unsubscribe?
We're talking about the like button here.
Oh.
Just hit the like button and the dislike button and see what happens. Thank you for your support and keep building.
Stop building. I'm gonna start
Grace was
to yawn.